Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Twoc Talk Thursdays, right here from the Healing Project. Oh yeah, my candy just came. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Twoc Talk Thursdays. Toy don't like that. So this is another Thursday, and I am here, and my ED is here. And we're just going to have some organic conversation. We're here just to talk about what's going on in our world today. And we always start off with what's on your mind? Where are you? Where are you mentally? And how do you feel? Oh, I don't know how that happened. Let me get that out of here. Okay, there we go. Toy, Toy.
I'm here.
There she is. So, Toy, how are you? Where are you mentally? And what has got you most? What is giving you most pause in where our world is today? How are you feeling? Where are you mentally? And what is giving you most pause in our world today?
Um, where am I? How do I feel? Where am I
Mm-hmm.
mentally? And what is giving me
Mm-hmm.
the most pause right now? And this
Mm-hmm.
where we are right now. How am I? I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. I have faith that we can overcome this. Um, I know that we can overcome this, but I know we can't do it alone. I know we can't do it as individuals. We have to move as a collective. Um, what is giving me pause? What's giving me pause is waiting um, for folks to decide that enough is enough. When there's a sense of urgency right now, we're two steps away from dictatorship. I don't know if any of you know, but they're now going to start censoring what we're able to say. As far as trans folks, we have already been under the guise and under their microscope. They have just successfully removed us and our history from certain historical moments and accomplishments. And that's something that's something so hard for me to deal with because the mission of the Healing Project is to combat the erasure of trans lives, narratives, existence, and the contributions to society. And what we see is that very thing that this organization was created 4 years ago to do. And here we are, fast forwarded in this moment. We've seen that trans is now removed from Stonewall. When we were the ones, the movement was created because of trans folk. So that thing that some of us said would never happen, that thing that some of us have been fighting to prevent from happening, that moment is here. And I'm afraid that not enough of us are aware or understand that we are at war and we're in war, and that there are certain things that we can do right now to become successful. But it's not an individual act, it's a collective movement. That's where I'm at.
So, my other half watches the news all the time. I don't, and I don't because it's depressing, and it seems like every time that I try and look at the news, I get irritated. Last night I watched; they were having a cabinet meeting, and uh, Elon Musk was in the meeting, but he doesn't hold an office. And he was doing most of the talking. And so it led for me to feel and believe, is he running the country and Trump is just the face?
I'm with you. I don't like to watch the news, but I have to watch the news because I believe that it's important to know what's going on around you. Now, what I don't do is I don't go in the garbage can. I don't scrummage through the trash. And what I mean by the trash is, for me, I don't go into the comment sections. It
Okay.
takes a very strong person to go into that abyss and come back out. I do it. I cannot go into the comment section. But I do watch the news because I know it's very important. And the reason why I have pulled back from watching it religiously, like I have done in the past, is because very few people are having that honest conversation. They still refuse to call that thing what it is and what we're experiencing right now.
Oh, Jesus.
They're still moving forward and still protecting and using that language that's still coded. And when at this point, we should call it out for what it is. Everything that he said he would not do and who he is not, he is that. We're 2 steps away from dictatorship. The thing that he said would never happen. You hear very few news journalists talk about it. One of the very few people that talked about it as a post-election was Joy Reid. You saw what happened, right? She's removed because she's one of those people that speak truth to power. And that's something that they don't want the public to do. They're now attacking content creators. Adam Mockler, who has one of the most effective news broadcasters when it comes to queer folks and it comes to what happens with us. He has a very, very, very good YouTube page. So if you ever get a chance to go to Adam Mockler, he has those uncomfortable conversations and he calls things out for what they are. And people like him, they're threatening his show and his existence. So what they're doing is they're trying to censor the conversations that we have. And that's something, and that's dictatorship. That's how dictatorship starts. It starts with a divide. It starts with communities starting to get resistance and hatred toward one another. The only way that this system can work that they're trying to implement and create is through division. They divided us already when it comes to sexuality and gender, race and classism. All of those things are systems that's put in place to divide us. Because of the inward fighting, they're able to unveil the bigger plan that they have yet to deny. He denied that that's what the goal is, but we all know it. But they're not saying it on the news. They're still speaking in hypothetics and what if is, and they still not sure what he. You know exactly what it is he want to do. Just like those people that were saying they were voting for him because of the cost of eggs and all of those other things. When we know the underlying issue and the underlying reason why they voted for him was because of his views and how he wants to make America great again. And him making America great again was him eradicating or minimalizing the role of Black folk in this country, people of color in this country and in society. So I do watch the news, but I watch it. I control how much I watch it. Yeah, it sent me to a place prior to the election when I saw that the direction that things were going in. And you know that from experience. So my mourning process was after he won. But once he won, I immediately started to say, okay, now it's time for solutions.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be bombarded with problems. Now it's time for solutions. And that's where I'm at with that right now.
So we are now dealing with, and it may not be directly, like hit your home directly, but I know that I know people, as well as people, when it comes to the Army and those of us who are serving and those of us who have served and how it's just being taken away from them. And people are on pins and needles, not sure whether they are going to have a job tomorrow or not. Not sure whether, they said something last night and they said they're going to have people in the Army to answer 5 questions. And those 5 questions are like, what is your importance of being in the Army, or what have you done in the service that you deserve to keep your job? And if they can't answer those 5 questions, they're gonna be fired.
Well, that's something that they're doing for all federal workers. Elon Musk emailed them over and saying he's requesting this information, which they don't have to answer to him. So a lot of their superiors and their supervisors have told them to ignore that email because no, you don't have to answer to him. But yes, he did email a questionnaire saying that they should report what it is they're doing How they're doing it is, yeah, different points they have to report on. So that is correct. That is something, but that was sent out by Elon Musk, somebody who does not hold a seat. Right, he's only an advisor to the president, which is not even a position to this point. We still don't have a president because the America that I'm a part of, and America I remember growing up in, was that every leader that we had swore on the Bible. He refused to touch the Bible, and he swore his allegiance to this country, not to man, not to himself. And I have still yet to see that happen. And you have a person that's your appointee that was not even sworn, voted in, or any of that in any capacity. He was nowhere a part of the election, other than he was only your donor. And I don't want to get the number incorrect, but I think he donated like $20 million a month to Trump's campaign.
Ooh, God.
Yeah. So, which to me is, if you follow politics and you know United States history, which is a bigger problem, because most presidents, every president, when they come in and they occupy the seat or they run for presidency of the United States, there are certain things that they have to turn over. They cannot have individual businesses because there would be a conflict of interest. But yet we have Truth Social, which Trump owns, which is his social media platform. He has all of his other businesses, which he owned. The last election he did, his last term, he did put it over in his daughter's name or his son's name. But this time he didn't do any of that because he knew that he had the components around him that he needed to be able to do what he needs to do, which is the House and the Senate. And as you can see, his cabinet is giving him no resistance. That press conference was pure comedy. It was not, there was no one there to fact check him because he alienated all of the other news outlets and only allowing 3 news outlets to report any type of press conferences that he's having. Those are the only 3 that he's invited because he doesn't want the resistance. He doesn't want people to give him any type of feedback, criticism. He doesn't want to hear what we have to say.
Would you say, Toy, with this new administration, that
Excuse me.
that the world is pretty much being taken over to take us back to the place that our ancestors fought so hard for us to come away from?
Excuse me. I love the fact that you said the world. Having this conversation with multiple people from multiple different levels that occupy multiple seats in multiple sectors, it is a global trend. It is a global takeover. It is. It is, because what happens in the United States now becomes the possibility model for all of the other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why everybody's watching us closely is because they're facing elections of their own. And because of what Trump is doing and implementing all of the all of the anti-LGBT rhetoric and all of the laws that he's doing, passing, that's now giving other countries the green light to do it. Once they remove protections for LGBT folk, primarily trans folk, other countries fell in suit because they all want they rely on the United States heavily for resources. Those small countries cannot exist without the resources that come from the United States. And so if the person that's over those resources say this is not what's going to happen and this is not what we want, what do you think is going to happen? And I think a lot of times we miss so many signs. We miss so many signs right before, I think it was before the election. My time check may be wrong. Someone, if you know, you can correct me on that. But I know Putin released a statement saying that any country that does business that have LGBTQ plus rights in their country cannot adopt Russian kids. And that's the response everybody did. They laughed because they didn't know where it was coming from. But fast forward, we see where it's coming from now. Anyone that's in alignment with Putin, anyone that's in alignment with that particular circle, they have those anti-LGBT laws.
It's crazy.
And he doesn't want to do business with folks that do. And yeah, and it's deeper than that. I don't even want to get into that other piece. because that's yeah, it's much deeper than that.
So are Russian children that much of a hot commodity to say no one can adopt them? Like,
Russian kids are what color? A
yeah.
predominantly
Amen.
majority.
Yes.
And once again, this is about population and repopulating.
Hmm.
Because while they're telling us that we're the minority was okay. Okay. And every day they're denying access. They just their plans are to deport 500,000. They are going to do deportations. They are, but it's not going to be the deportations that people are thinking. It's not going to be the deportations that some of the people voted for. It's going to be those our Haitian siblings, our Haitian brothers and sisters that's going to be deported. It's our African and our African and our Caribbean siblings that's going to be deported. At least 500,000 of them. They're going to revoke their green card. They're going to revoke their citizenship under the bill that Biden passed that's up to expire next month. So we'll start to see. I'm sorry, not next month. I think it's August. We're going to start to see that they're not going to renew a lot of them. So 500,000 of them will be deported.
Wow.
And we're not talking.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that something is going on as far as visas, like that we're going to have a visa opposed to a passport to go to certain places in Mexico.
But certain countries, it already requires you to have a visa. I haven't been to one yet that requires a visa because of the way that America was respected. If you came from other countries, yes. But because of the positioning of America, once again, America is the most powerful country. It's the one that all of the other countries look up to and rely on. So there's a level of privilege that was extinguished to us that other countries didn't have the luxury of. Like we have trans siblings that travel from other countries that they need to have visas. In those same countries, they need visas for. I can go into with no problem. You can go into with no problem because of your citizenship. You can go into them with no problem. But
Gotcha.
what a lot of people are not talking about and paying attention to is that he's thinking they have. I don't know if it's true or not, and I believe it is true. But they were saying that he's going to sell a gold card for $5 million, and that gold card will grant immigration status to anyone that can pay the $5 million.
So,
you know what? I wish we had people. I wish I'm not tech savvy like that. But as I'm having these conversations, I don't want people to think that I'm just making this stuff up. I wish I had a way that I can just provide the information as I'm talking about it, like podcasters do. I'm not a podcaster, but there's a way where you can provide their information as you're going through it, so folks can see it in real time to know that when we have these conversations, they're just not on hearsay. They're just not on speculations or gossip. These are true events that we're discussing on this platform.
yeah, I think so. That's something that we can work on to be able to, so that we can be able to do that. What would be your advice to our community
Hey,
in
Tyra.
in this time?
Advice.
Yeah, what would be your advice as far as how to navigate, how to move in this time that we're in? Like, what would be
We
your
have to come together. We have to come together as a collective. There's such a divide right now between the trans community and everyone else under the umbrella. And I said everyone else because that's what it feels like.
right?
We look at situations, there's more conversation around a trans woman talking to a guy that chooses to deal with her in a DL situation and how she go about handling that situation. And anybody, if it was any other situation, they could say, oh, if you can't tell me if you hit me, you can't tell me how to hit you back. What a person experienced, they're going to act off of their experience. The reality is, while we're having these individual conversations and we having this division in between the inward fighting, we all are at risk. There's 5 states right now that's wanting to review same-sex marriages. So while we're talking about trans folk, understand that when we sign on and support what's being done to trans folk, we signed those papers for all of us to be discriminated. We signed those papers for us to be segregated. I said at the last episode that the day that we signed and the day that he got into office and the day that we did not vote and the day that we had a conversation and tried to control who goes into the bathroom, how they show up, what name they can be called, and how they choose to identify, which is their constitutional right, we have signed ourselves back into segregation. Because we teach people how to treat us. So they look at the division between and the inward fighting within the community. There's a team of people that they have intentionally doing that, to look for those things, to have those talking points. Thank you, Mama. Mama sent me the YouTube. There's folks that, let me see if I can. I'm gonna figure it out, baby. I'm gonna figure it out.
Oh, look, I can. So there it is down there.
Yeah, I put it down here. I just don't know how to play it. But we'll have to figure that out. But thank you, Mama. Mama Chris. Love you. But it's the inward fighting. And it's all of those things are distractions. While we're talking about trans folks and who's real enough, who's passable enough, all of those different things. They're using all of that time, all of those particular intersections in the community to divide us all. While we're talking about trans folk, they're talking about who you can marry, who you can be connected to. They're talking about where we all can shop. While there's a such thing called the Religious Care Act. And if they were to implement it's already a law, but in certain places, if they was to implement the Religious Care Act, that would be the opportunity for them to use segregation. They would segregate all of us out of services. The Religious Care Act is a thing that says, I can refuse services to you because of my religious beliefs. And it doesn't have to be justified. I don't have to explain that to anyone.
Right. And it's law.
And it's law. Just like stand your ground laws. We're going to have all of these different conversations. In the South, anyone that lives in the South, we know how important stand your ground laws are if you know about them. Stand your ground laws in Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, I think. Those are the things, that's the law that says you have the right to protect yourself. And if anyone feels threatened by your existence, if you was to walk up against me and I felt threatened by your existence, I have the right to protect myself. But when my black skin is the threat to anyone outside of blackness, when my transness is a threat to anyone that doesn't identify as that or see me or my community as a problem, them harming, killing, or doing anything to us is justified. And it's going to be upheld in courts. What they did do was there was a database after the George Floyd uprising, and I'm going to say uprising, the George Floyd coming together because it was a global movement. That was the day that the world came together and stood in solidarity with us as Black Americans, because we're the key to this. We're the solution to this. It's because of our excellence, our greatness, our contributions to this world and to this society that Black is considered as excellence. We were able to travel this world because of what happened, because of Nina Simone, because of what happened with Josephine Baker and Leontine Price and all of our great authors, and we had Bayard Rustin and Dr. Martin Luther King, and we had Andrea Lord and all of those amazing Black folk and the ones before then. It was because of them we are able to travel this world and be successful and be respected and be able to occupy space and have equity. Not equality. I never fight for equality. I don't want what's yours. That's what equality is. Equality is saying, I want the same thing that she has. I don't want equality.
Right, yeah.
I fight for equity. Equity is my fair chance at obtaining the rights to exist like everybody else, having a fair chance to be able to start at the same starting point like everybody else. That's what equity is, and that's what I fight for. I don't fight for equality, because what's for you is for you. I don't want what's yours.
Absolutely.
I want an opportunity to be able to obtain what's mine. That's what equity is. It's because of our Black ancestors and our transcestors we're able to navigate on this soil. And because they have done it before, we're the solution to it being done again. But it's not going to happen if we don't come together. The information that I have, and one of the things I suggest all the time, is that we come together. Know your history. If you know your history, you're not going to repeat it. Know your history. And we have the power to control anything. We can't control people, we control what happens to us. And we can control what happens around us. Control where you spend your money. Tomorrow we are doing a national blackout. Black folks are not there. There's a whole list of places where black folks are not going to spend. They suggest you don't spend your money nowhere if you don't have to, but primarily at those different places like Walmart and Best
Mhm.
Buy and Target, all those different places. Those are the places that they're definitely boycotting. But there's a list of things that's circulating through Facebook that I'm sure folks can have access to that tells you where you should not shop on tomorrow. And after that, there's a bigger movement that's happening starting March the 3rd, which is going to be the 40-day boycott of Target. And so those type of things are important. But in the meantime, in between time, I think it's important that we show them that we can exist. Show them that we can exist. They always say, well, we say that black people don't come together. We do come together. And for them to say that we don't come together, the system has found something to unite us. Even though we're the butt of that, even though they come together because they have a disdain toward us, or they don't want us in the restrooms, or they don't want us to have equal rights, whatever reason they have come together. But the system has identified that our people will come together around this issue. The election time showed us that.
Do
Election.
you feel like we need to go back to doing it the way Martin Luther King did it by marching?
I mean, people are marching now. I mean, people are protesting at their local senators and their politicians' office, and which you should do. Legislators go to all of their office because we should have been doing that. But you're paying them; they work for you. There was a town hall here in Roswell that went viral because the Republican representative refused to answer the questions from his constituents. Those are the people that elected you. No, you don't have to answer the questions, but when you showed up and you refused to answer the question, and then he started to talk to them like they were children.
Oh God.
Oh, if you don't bring your tongue down, I'm not going to answer any more questions. No, you need to be out of there. The next movement that should have happened should have been for those community members of Roswell in that district to have him
Out
impeached.
of office.
Impeachment. Because all of those folks work for us. The president of the United States is supposed to work for us. The senators, legislators, those people work for us. And I say this time and time again. If you go into a restaurant, you want to know who's cooking your food. If you own a business, you want to see who you're paying, the employee that you're paying a check to.
Mhm.
Why do we not know who our senators and representatives are? They're working for us. When we pay taxes, we're paying their salary.
I don't feel like it was something that we were taught. You know what I'm saying? We weren't taught that growing up, and so now people don't know how to. Thank you so much, Chris. Is that for the? Yeah, I think that's the places where not to go. Chris just put it up
Are
there.
you able to open it?
Let me see. So I'm able to. No, I'm able to show it. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's the yeah.
I don't
Well,
know that I
I
can.
have the actual document though.
Yeah, I don't know that I can open it per se.
No, so
Let me
just
see.
let's see.
Refresh, save. Uh,
We could share it on our Facebook page after.
yeah.
We can share it on our Facebook page after. But I think it's important that we don't know our history. One of the things that we did over Christmas, my mother-in-law came to town, and me, my husband, my mother-in-law, and my brother-in-law, we went to the starts with an R, Jesus Christ.
Starts with an R.
No, it's the monument in Montgomery, geez, the Legacy Monument. That's not an R, but it's an M. We went to the Legacy Museum, and every time, this was my second time going, but every time I go there, I learned something else. It was some things that stuck out to me as I was going through the monument, the museum this last time, because you can't take pictures or anything like that. But they were talking about what happened year by year. And I saw that in 1868 was the year they ratified the 14th Amendment. And the 14th Amendment is what gave Black folks citizenship of in this country. We were no longer slaves, we became citizens. So from that point on, that's when we began to be counted. That's when we began to be counted. That's when we started to receive birth certificates and have documents to represent who we are, and our names. And so when we talk about that birthright citizenship, we talked about it a little bit last episode, but when we talk about birthright citizenship, those are the conversations we have to pay attention to. Yes, they're planning on deporting immigrants, but if we got our status in 1868 and we don't have access to any of those documents from our ancestors, one of the things they're trying to do now is get into the Office of Records. Yeah, yeah, there's a list, but yeah, I wanted to pull it up so folks can see it because I don't want to just constantly say stuff without having the information here to support what I'm saying. Because I don't want folks to think I'm delusional and it's a propaganda piece. You know, some folks, when you try to have this conversation, that's the first thing that they say. But I wanted to have these facts present while having this conversation. But if we pay attention to the Birthrights Act, and they're talking about removing folks that's not citizens, if your great grandmother got her citizen, your great great grandmother got citizenship in 1868, and there's no record of her birth certificate, and if there's no record of your grandmother, your great great grandmother's birth certificate, and her being born on this soil, that makes you what? Even if you have documentation, it's not showing how you got here.
Right.
It's showing that your lineage to being here. So that makes all of us an immigrant. And that's the conversation that they're having while we're sitting around like none of this is taking place. They're already preparing for this. They're already plotting this. They're also plotting a voters purge.
So, Toy, you say come together. What does that look like? Like, how does that come to fruition? What is that? How does that show up? What is that? So, come together. Is that march? Is that have town hall meetings? What does that look like?
For me, understanding that there's no, I love my people. I'm not closed-minded to suggestions. Mm-hmm. I don't know it all. I don't have all the answers, but coming together is supporting folks that do, and coming together is agreeing that the direction is agreeing on the direction. We don't have to agree on the mode of transportation. The direction is we're fighting for liberation. We're fighting for freedom. We're fighting for equity, something that hasn't been given to us. If we can agree on that, then we all can move forward. We all may not have to move in the same direction, because what may be your way of advocating, maybe protesting, may not be mine. You may have a person that has too much to risk to be a protester because they're working on the inside. So they're trying to fix things and fix systems on the inside. So we don't want to jeopardize that person by them being at the protest. You may have a person that can control finances and things. Everybody has a way that they can show up and fight in this movement. Mm-hmm. But being in support of one another and agreeing what the end goal is. Like the Make America Great Again, that whole party agreed. Well, some of them were in delusion, but they all agreed that Making America Great Again was minimalizing the impact and the role of Black people and people of color in America. And now those are the folks, and you hear people laughing all the time, say FAFO. I don't find it funny at all, because I do believe that it's now is not the time for us to rest. We hear a lot of Black people say, I'm just going to sit back and rest. A lot of people of color say, I'm going to sit back and rest. Now is not the time to do so. Coming together as a collective is moving when you see the others move. When you see traction moving with a movement, if you see a movement that you're comfortable with, a movement that you can align with, join that movement. Getting out of self and thinking about others. Moving as a collective.
My other half, Malik, said, if you all go to targetfast.org and register, you will be provided with all Black businesses and keep up to date of everything that is going on, i.e. boycotts.
Yeah.
So anybody who wants to know all the Black businesses in Georgia, if you go to targetfast.org and you register, then you will be that will be supplied to you.
Yeah, and that's put together by Dr. Jamal Bryan in Newburgh and a bunch of other pastors. Yeah. What do you believe a solution or can be?
So, for me, I always believe,
Like way.
like right now, you guys are and when I say you guys, I'm talking about the Vision Church. You guys are fasting, right? And I believe that all things come through fasting and prayer. I'm a church girl, and that's what I believe. Um, this says Malik said this. Malik
It's
just put
right
this.
here. I put it on the screen. They could
Yeah.
read. It's a lot.
Okay.
And it's also, oh wait. I wish we had the full thing, Auntie.
The
But yeah,
what?
that's the 14th Amendment. So if you can, you have smartphones, let's use them. Type in the 14th Amendment. If you want to go deeper, type in how does the 14th Amendment impact Black folk? Type in how does the 14th Amendment impact people of color in the US? You'll be surprised what you'll get. But you were saying something, Auntie?
Yeah, I was just saying that for me, fasting and prayer, turning down your plates or giving up certain things just to make a sacrifice. What I know is that fasting and prayer moves the hand of God. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, God is in control. Like I honestly, and this is Raquel speaking, I honestly believe that God is allowing these things to happen to get our attention.
So
Um,
what about those folks that says, because I saw that, and that's the piece that weakened me. I saw folks say that you keep sending links, we can't see the links because we can't open them.
Yeah, we can. All we can do is put them up here.
Mama posted the link too. But I saw folks say that we keep talking about prayer. That's what they say. We're talking about prayer, but it's those preachers and those evangelicals and those Christians use prayer to get him in office. We saw how the bishops and the pastors stood over him and prayed over him, and look what he's doing. So, what do you say to folks that's their image of religion? That's their image of prayer. Because you're saying prayer, you're saying
Mhm,
prayer and fasting.
mhm,
As a believer, I understand and I know what you're saying. But I
mhm,
also know that there are still other components to that. But what do you say to that person that have seen how this administration is using and how Christian
mhm,
evangelicals are coming together and supporting all of the movements and everything that this man is doing? Half of
mhm,
those people that's sitting next to him identify as Christian and say that they believe in God and what they're doing is of God. So what
mhm.
do you tell folks in that regard?
So, what I say to people in that regard is remember who God is. God is a God of love. God is a God of kindness. That same God is a God who will chastise when people ain't doing right. That same God will respond because that our God said that God won't have any other gods before God. And so, knowing that, for me, does what is going on look like God? Right? Does it look like the God the God that loves everybody? Scripture says, with loving kindness have I drawn thee. And that's for everybody. To whom much is given, much is required. And so much has been given to us as people of faith, right? And so you have got to study the word line upon line and precept upon precept. And what that simply means is you've got to get an understanding of what you actually are reading and believe, and not what you're seeing. Because for a long time, we have all seen preachers and pastors do certain things, but we didn't go and study for ourselves, right? Scripture also says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. So you've got to study to show your own self approved. And in doing that, then you can then make decisions soundly and not just make decisions about what you see, right? Not just decisions about what you see, because what you see is those evangelicals, those preachers, those bishops praying for him, right? That's what you see, right? But what has God shown you? Because, see, fasting and praying will cause God to speak to you so that you can be clear about what decisions you need to make or not, what decisions you don't need to make. And so for me, I would remind them that this relationship is with God and not with man. And so if they would seek God and not seek what they see from man, then I believe that a lot of people will change their minds.
Okay. Y'all hear that, right?
Yeah, I believe I am with it. I believe a lot of people will change their
And
mind.
faith without works is dead, right? We know that prayer is action for certain. For me, it's action.
Yeah,
For
it's
some
work.
people
It's
that's
putting in
not
work.
people that's not believers, they need an action item to adjacent to that. Because we know faith without works is dead, and pray without ceasing. That's what I've always been told.
Yes.
And so, what can we do to accompany that prayer life so we can be able to find um, not peace, but peace in this moment of chaos, in this moment of turmoil. What can we do so we can be able to show up and be ourselves and not have our joy disrupted, not be sidetracked and not fall to the distractions and the division?
Right. I believe we have to keep on doing things like this, Twoc Talk, right? We have to keep on reaching out. We have to keep on giving knowledge about what's going on. Because if you don't know, it goes back to the scripture. Like I said, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. Because what you don't know, that's what happens. And when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. And so you've got to know the purpose of people, places, and things. And when you know the people, the purposes of those people, places, and things, then you don't find yourself abusing it, right? I say all the time that despite whether you like LGBTQIA plus people or not, right? If it were you, would you be okay? And when you see it like that, when you put yourself in the shoes of another human, would it be okay for these things to be happening for you? And
Mhm.
and if it would not be okay, then that means that you should make a different decision.
And the reality is, that's what they're encountering right now. They say be careful to throw stones when you live in a glass house.
Uh-huh.
The same oppressions and the same rights that they voted against and wanted us not to have are the same rights that they find themselves fighting for now. That's the same rights they've been reaching out for now. Hey Jasmine, how you doing, my baby?
Yeah, Jasmine, I don't know how you've been reaching out.
Through
However,
Messenger.
so you've seen it then, Toy?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's very important in this season that we and turn the other cheek. You know how the scripture says, turn the other cheek.
Mm-hmm.
I know they say this all the time, and I hate to always say it, but we are chosen for a reason.
Baby.
We are chosen for a reason. In spite of how my people act, how they show up, and how they don't want me in spaces, we still have a responsibility to show up. I know that half of the people that I'm fighting for and who rights we're fighting for are the same people that wanted our rights taken, but we still have a responsibility to show up because we know what organizing, we know how to organize, we know how to get prayer through, we know how to show up for our people. We've been doing this. We've been living pretty much, some of us, especially our elders, our trans elders, they were living pretty not underground lives, but that we had to get our stuff, as the young folks would say, from the mud. Before we were accepted under these last few administrations, trans folks didn't have their rights. And upon my transitioning process, there was no such thing as the word trans. And it didn't pertain to me. That terminology was not discovered. So I think it's very important right now that us as trans folks, and I'm not calling all to do that because that's not everybody's ministry, but I also know that in this season, in spite of whatever someone else wishes on me, I still have a responsibility to show up. I know some of the people that I'm going to stand next to, and it happens all the time. I can be somewhere speaking, and something I say in that moment convicts them and be like, I apologize. And I used to be like, okay, you don't have to apologize. But now I listen to that because there was an inward, there's a spiritual war that they're dealing with. They spoke against a trans person or took an opportunity from a trans person or had a trans person removed from a space. So when they're apologizing, it's something that I'm saying in that moment or the way that I'm showing up that's convicting them. And that's God showing up. So I have to allow that and give them space to, and I receive that apology. I no longer be silent on that when they say that. I used to always shut it down and say, no, you don't have to apologize, because I was like, well, you didn't do nothing to me. But I don't know what actions or what you did prior to you coming here or what convicted you in that moment to apologize. So now I say I receive it, and me and my God needed to hear that. Because you never know what people are dealing with. And being able to turn the other cheek, it hurts. It hurts. I'm a part of ballroom. I'm a part of pageantry. And the same people who I have dedicated almost 25 years, or probably more of my life to, are the folks that's engaging in these conversations around trans women and bathrooms and how they show up and trans rights and when is the right time to disclose your business and all of those. They have so many conversations and so many perspectives and point of views around trans folks and how we show up. But they are the same ones that rely on the resources, the benefits, and the sacrifices that we make. Because while they have the luxury of hiding who they are and not being able to be themselves, we don't have the luxury of not wearing that T-shirt.
Correct.
We don't have a luxury of, as some folks say, rest and resist. No. Every day a trans person show up, a Black trans woman especially, is the act of resistance. Every day we show up because we don't know if we're going to make it home. That's the reality. And now there's no laws to protect us as we're navigating. So as we're fighting and as we're showing up, we're going to need other folks to stand up in solidarity with us, regardless of what you personally feel. The goal is that we're fighting to eradicate this system of oppression. We're fighting to eradicate racism. And that's the thing that we should agree on. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you wear, what you drive. It doesn't impact me or affect me. Mm-hmm. But I understand that even if you're not supportive of a movement, don't put your mouth on it. Just don't say nothing. Move around. Don't be counterproductive toward a movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, leave it alone. I put in Google, how does the 14th Amendment affect African American people? And what came up was the 14th Amendment significantly affects African American people by guaranteeing them citizenship and equal protection under the law. Yeah. Essentially establishing their status as full citizens with the same rights as any other American. A crucial step towards dismantling the legal framework of racial segregation and discrimination following the Civil War. It serves as a foundational legal tool to combat racial injustice against African Americans through court cases challenging discriminatory practices.
Now, put in how you got to get real smart with your smartphones, right? Uh-huh. Put in how are the changes under this administration impacting? How will that impact? How will Black folks or trans folk, Black and trans folks be impacted under new administrations? Under the new administration's amendment, plans to amend the 14th Amendment. I know that was a lot, but summarize what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. So say it one more time.
I'll put it in my phone.
Okay.
How does the 14th Amendment impact trans and Black folk in this social political climate? Gotcha. How does the social political climate we're in right now impact trans and Black folk? LGBT and Black folk, trans and Black folk. Yeah. You could write, Jasmine, let go and let God. I mean, but there's folks that don't know who God is. And that was the conversation me and Raquel was just having. So what if you don't know who God is? What if you don't know who God is and you saw these people and you saw this man that's now inflicting all of this horror, that's taking that's signing executive orders daily to eradicate Black folk, eradicate trans folk. They're going to start attacking same-sex marriages. They're attacking all of our civil liberties. And they use God as their reason for doing that. And anybody that knows, the First Amendment was the amendment that says that there was supposed to be a separation of church and state. Religion was never supposed to be the bedrock of this country. This country was created because they fled, as they call her, Mary Tudor at that time, Bloody Mary, because of the Protestants fled Europe because of that, because she was killing people because of religion. So they fled here to create a country, and they vowed to not allow it to be created around religion, and religion should not be the bedrock of it. That was under the First Amendment. What you got, Auntie?
It says the Equal Protection Clause prevents states from excluding same sex couples from civil marriage of the same terms and conditions as the opposite sex couples.
What you put in? I mean, that is correct, but it should have went deeper than that.
It has more.
Oh, okay. Well, let me give you some. I've been up like crazy writing and taking and just journaling and writing and writing. I write myself to sleep sometimes. And one of the things that, well, a few things, but one of the things I really wanted to talk about as soon as I get to it, y'all. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Bear with me. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, girl, you hear my stomach doing shows.
Girl,
that. So I'm gonna put it up, Auntie. Let's see. Okay, I think I found it. I think I found it, y'all. Whew. Yep, I think I did. If birthright citizenship is repealed or restricted, it will be used to disenfranchise trans folk, non-binary and intersex people, deny them equal protection under the law, strip them of their legal gender identities and healthcare rights, weaken protections for LGBTQ plus families, marriages, and parental rights, increase deportation risks for trans immigrants and asylum seekers. That's all under the 14th Amendment. If birthright citizenship is removed, it echoes historical moments when government strips rights from marginalized groups. Dred Scott versus Stanford, 1857, denied U.S. citizenship to Black Americans, reinforcing white supremacist legal structure. Japanese internment, 1940s, used legal loopholes to detain Japanese American citizens in camp. In Nazi Germany, 1930s and the 40s, 1930s through the 40s, strips Jewish, LGBTQ plus, and other marginalized groups of citizenship, leading to mass persecution. Jim Crow laws, 1877 to 1960s, 1960. Used legal maneuvering to suppress Black citizenship's rights despite the 14th Amendment. If birthright citizenship is revoked, history shows that marginalized people, especially Black, trans, and gender diverse folks, will be the first to suffer. And the things that we're talking about, aren't we seeing some of those things already happening?
Yes, absolutely.
We're seeing those things already happening. So, yeah. I know you were saying something else, Auntie. You were saying something else. I was doing some research because it fascinated me. Even as a child, I was like, I would hear stories. One thing I love about the Jewish community is that they stick together, and they reinforce how important education is. And very seldom you will hear a Jewish person that does not have knowledge of the Holocaust or spread misinformation about it or denial of it happening, or their communities being impacted by it. But yet I see so many Black people and have conversations with so many Black people that minimize the impact of slavery, or that it even existed, or that it even happened. Right. And I also was like, well, how was something as big as the Holocaust. How was it able to happen? And it said it was due to a combination of historical, political, and societal economic factors that created conditions for mass genocide. Understand it was a mass genocide. One of the first thing that happened, and it knew it needed to work, was deep-rooted anti-Semitism and racism. Anti-Semitism beliefs have been present in Europe for centuries, and the Nazis' propaganda intensified existing prejudices. The Nazis also targeted other marginalized groups, include Romanian people, LGBTQ plus individuals, disabled people, and political opponents. That was the first step. First thing that happened, that they know they needed to happen. The deep-rooted anti-Semitism and racism, the rise of authoritarianism and fascism, what we're experiencing now. The Weimar Republic was politically unstable, leading to the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. Hitler and the Nazis used fear, propaganda, and violence to consolidate power and dismantle democratic institutions. I went a little further with my research, and I also did some research on. Why y'all got me going through this? I don't know. And so I'm saying all that. I'm saying all that to say that everything that they're saying took place during the Holocaust, during that period, and the tools that were needed are present right now.
My God.
They're present right now. And this is not to spread fear or any of that. I'm saying all that to say that we have the opportunity to fix this. As Black Americans, we have the power to fix that. We are powerful people. We are extremely powerful people. We are the most influential Black people all over the world. There's Black people everywhere, but they're not like the Black folk in America.
Right. And we proved that with Floyd.
All of and that's why they're upset. Let's be honest. They're upset that when we stood together as Black folk in America, the world listened. Not only did the world listen, we changed systems. Yep. They created, like, the reason why we're targeting Target is because after that, Target made an agreement to the Black community. They vowed $2 billion to the Black community in lieu of what happened with George Floyd and the uprising. And so many other companies created DEI clauses and implemented DEI in their practices. And now they all are removing them. Because we stood together. And because we are now kind of divided and everybody's fighting individual fight. You got Black trans women over here fighting. You got Black women over here fighting for their rights. And you got Black men that's, I don't know what they're doing right now, but you have Black men that's fighting, but I don't know what the fight is sometimes. But I do believe that they are fighting. A large amount of them are organizing. And I think it's beautiful to see. Nothing more powerful and beautiful than to see a Black man when he has a mission and a purpose. And it's about leading his community. My hat goes off to all of those Black bishops and those pastors and those Black leaders that are sacrificing their health, their families, and their safety for us. I think it's admirable beyond what Kendrick Lamar did for the halftime show. He sacrificed this thing that he worked hard for. As an artist, your main goal is to be able to get to the Grammys and win a Grammy. Not only did he win a Grammy, he was able to perform. That was something that was his wildest dreams. And he had to take something that he has worked so hard for to share that in a moment so that his people can wake up and understand the message that he was giving. And some of us still don't understand it. Some of us still saying that it's not happening. We're still in denial about this taking place. So I celebrate him and pour into and cover all of our Black male leaders in prayer that's really sacrificing everything and going against everything that the world said you're supposed to have to be successful so you can lead your people to liberation. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
We've given quite a bit of information tonight. Toy, before we go, I want you just to talk a little bit about women's right to vote and what's going on with that.
Well, there are conversations, and they're trying to pass a bill that will impact, they say, at least 70 million women. They're trying to make it where to now, if a woman votes and you're married, you have to use the name that's on your birth certificate to go out and vote. And that won't just affect cisgender women that's married, that will affect transgender women as well. Because if they're telling you you have to show up with the name that's on your birth certificate and that does not align with who you are right now, how many voters do you think will be suppressed? How many millions of voters do you think will be suppressed? They already in their mind, and they already in their mind have created a system. They believe that black men, they believe that men don't get out and vote, period. So men have the responsibility of showing them you're wrong. But we have to fight to even get to that place, because they're trying to undo this dismantle the voters' rights in such a way, in a voting system in such a way to where we don't even have a midterms.
Right.
But no one is talking about that. I listen to the news and no one is talking about how they're accelerating these things, and they keep talking about we're preparing. Yes, it's important to prepare, but what are we doing in the meantime? What are we doing right now? How are we organizing right now? Their plans is to implement so many different barriers to where they won't even have the voter turnout. They're trying to end mail-in votes. He just had a whole press conference about those things.
So, people, we are living in a world where it's time for us to pay attention. It's time for us to show up. It's time for us to fight. And whatever that looks like for you, whatever fighting looks like for you, it's time to fight. Um, we are here every second and fourth Thursday, just to give you some information, just to give you some encouragement, just to let you know what's going on if you don't know. We here at the Healing Project, our goal is to help get you on the path to being healthy, healed, and whole. And that looks like taking care of our lives, taking care of us as family. Kirk Franklin did a song a long time ago, and some of the lyrics say, "I need you and you need me. We're all a part of God's family. I need you to survive." And so we need each other in this climate that we're in to survive, to make it, to
And
get to
also,
the, huh?
I said also, I didn't want us to end with such a somber note, because we over here, we're fighting, we're living, and we're enjoying as we're fighting, because this is what we do. As we are aware, we are conscientious of what's taking place, and we also understand that that's not where everybody else is. But we do have ways in which we organize and we come together, and we have meaningful engagement. Yesterday we had a beautiful evening bowling with our girls. We did the Healing Through the Highways. We went bowling with some of our women in community, some of the guys in community there were there to support. We have Self-Care Saturday coming up March the 8th. We have Georgia T-Dove Cookout in the Park in Grant Park March the 29th. So we're actually engaging and doing things outside of, and I don't want folks to think that it's doom and gloom. No, we're existing, we're living, and we're still fighting. We're still fighting. I'm not trying to give this, not fear mongering or any of that. So excuse our tone if you feel as though it's not uplifting, because we're still doing uplifting and impactful work. We're still enjoying ourselves. We're still making sure that we are reaching our communities, and we're human. So we're enjoying ourselves and we're living and we're making the best of our lives. But that does not mean that we're oblivious to what's going on around us.
Correct.
I just want to make sure that we get that out of, because there's a certain tone that this particular conversation is having. And I want the folks to know that we're more than that and we're beyond that. But we also know that we need each other. And this is the moment for us to come together as a collective. It's important that we come together as a collective. Yeah, we'll be going. We also in our spring college tour. Woo woo! We'll be going back to Georgia, West Georgia University. We'll be going to Georgia State. All of the colleges that's a part of District 4. Yeah, we're not just on this platform having conversation and spewing this information out. We're still living lives, and we're partying and celebrating life with a purpose.
Amen. Yeah. And with that said, this has been another Twoc Talk Thursdays. I'm your girl Raquel, and that's Toy. She's the ED here at the Healing Project. And again, we are here to help you get on the path to being healthy, healed, and whole. And so until the second Thursday, we will see you again. And take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Keep somebody else in mind.
And engage in some self-care. Do what makes you feel good. One of the most important things you can do right now for self-care is turn off the TV and call a girlfriend. Turn off the TV and go volunteer at an organization. Turn off the TV and go partner with the organization. Turn off the TV and go down to the courthouse. Be amongst the people. Don't be amongst the news. The news is put in place to distract us and to create us and put us in a place of fear. We just talked about God, and God is not fear. Light and dark can't dwell in the same place.
Yeah, cannot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So until next week, I'm Raquel. That's Toy. And
Yeah.
we will see you soon. And if you need to reach us, you can reach me at Queen
No,
Mother
that's not your
Raquel.
email.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not the Gmail. You can, that is the Gmail.
No, baby, you are Raquel at TWOC.
Oh, sorry. It
Queen.
is. It is Raquel. That's Rahkel H at TWC Healing Project. Again, that is Raquel. That's RAHKELH at TWC Healing Project. And you can reach Toy.
At Toy at TWCHealingProject.org. TOI at TWCHealingProject.org.
Yep. So till next time, which will be the second Thursday. This has been another Twoc Talk Thursdays, and we pray that you've gotten something that you can hold on to, something that you didn't know, some information that you can go forward with and do something about. We love you as well, Jasmine. Thank you for everybody who's been here tonight. Thank you, Patty Shaw. Thank you, Quentin. Thank you, Chris. Uh, yeah, just thank you everybody who's been here tonight. Thank you, Katina. Thank you, Malik. Thank you for being here. Just thank everybody for being here. I didn't miss anybody. And Tyra, thank you for coming and being a part. Thank you all for your support and for your love. We greatly appreciate it. And we're going to make it together, guys. We're going to make it together. So until the second Thursday, when we'll see you again, have a great evening. Good night.
Au revoir. Bini. Sayonara.
Ta ta fin fin.
Oh, toot toot beep beep.